Is so stop.
Putting a dip in your hip, a glide in your stride. Welcome to the mothership, the home of the travelers of the universe, with shows throughout the week. Everything you want, everything you could need. From the paranormal to the supernatural, from the spiritual to the unknown, from emotions to comedy. You can find us at Facebook, Twitch, YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, and so much more. This is R.I.F.T Nation Network, the RNN. And now, your featured show. Shall we begin?
Oh, whoops. I hit that off and went, oops, I disconnected that too quick. Whoops, that was a big whoops. Hello, friends. Welcome to Mysteries Beyond the Scenes, true crime at its best. Happy Monday. I hope everybody is doing well on this lovely Monday. Thank you, Miss Tammy. Love the new backdrop. It's beautiful. Thank you. Thank you. Welcome. Shared you out. Thank you, Miss Renee. How is everybody tonight? Good, I hope. Let's look in the chat and see who's with us. Hello, Miss Linda. How's it going? How's everybody doing? And we have Mr. Hitman Odell every Sunday evening at 7 p.m. for the Orion Effect with Rhonda. He's got a great show, so tune in every Sunday at 7. So everybody, oh, there's Miss Linda. How are you? And Facebook user, I thought that was you, Linda. Don't confuse me on a Monday. Mondays are bad to be confused. You know, it's kind of like, ugh, Monday. And Sir Keith, got you all shared out. Thank you, sir. And don't forget, tonight after Mysteries, I will be on the Otter Den. We have some really interesting transits, planetary astrological transits going on right now, some that we haven't seen for 200 years. So that's pretty interesting. We'll go over that. We have a new moon coming up. As many of you know that follow astrology, new moon is a time to set intentions. It's a time to get your vision board out. It's a time to say, okay, in 6 months, this is what I would like to be doing. So it's a wonderful time to do that. We'll go over that. Oh, so Hitman was, Howie was the Facebook user, was me, guilty. You were the Facebook user. Okay. I think I got everybody. Please hit the like button, share the show, and or subscribe, please. And also to let all of you know, with the R.I.F.T Nation Network, if you go to Facebook, Travelers of the R.I.F.T is the private group page. So if you want updated show information, any kind of promotional things that are going on, any kind of Radio Nation or radio information, go join the R.I.F.T Travelers. So that's a private, and Howie will hit the admit button because it is a private group and we love the travelers. So everybody, welcome. Miss Lee, how are you? And I know I have seen it on social media and Facebook. One of our family members, because you guys we're all family here, is having a mug raffle for Valentine's Day to raise some money to, and correct me, Tammy and Lee, to correct money for Kathy's, the fund for Kathy's daughter who has been missing. She went missing back in at Thanksgiving time. It's going on, what, about 5 years ago now, down in Texas. And so they are doing a fundraiser. I'll do a slide next week. So we'll have all of the contact information. You can buy tickets. It's a raffle for some beautiful mugs, really cool mugs, the kind that the girls are all decorating on TikTok, that there's no way I could decorate that stuff. So they're darling. And Howie says, if anyone is in the Travelers, you are not going to be seen by name. It is a Facebook issue. If you join the Travelers, please fill out the group rules. Oh, okay. And here we go. Lee, share the fundraiser on the fan page, which we will do that. You guys, I'll get that out and get it over to R.I.F.T Nation Network. Pardon me, for the fundraiser for Miss Kathy. And it's to raise funds for a private eye. So all of the funds are great for our families. And like you all know, they do have to do fundraisers because all of that money comes out of their pockets. So any little bit we can do. And let's see what Miss Tammy's got information. Yes, trying to raise $5,000 for reward money. Okay. Excuse me. And is it also for a PI as well? Did I see that as well? You know, it's important to have a PI. When the PIs get involved, I'm telling you what, people start to talk. And Tammy says, cool, thanks, Howie. Okay, here we go. Get some more information. Val's sister Roxy will be doing a live too. Well, that's wonderful. Perhaps maybe she could come on next week at the beginning of the show, do a little live with Kathy, and she can show all of us what she's going to be raffling. So I'll get with Kathy this week and see if we can get Roxy on here and we can show a couple of the little mugs and things that are going to be raffled. That'll be great. That would be great. No, just for reward. They have a P. Oh, they have a PI. Me. Oh, look at this. No, just for reward. They have a PI. Me. Miss Tammy is a PI, search and rescue. She is just Earth Angel, just absolute Earth Angel. That would be awesome. Well, I hope everybody's having a wonderful Monday. Let's get started because I wanted to put in a new segment and I want your all's feedback as well. So if you're not on the live show and you do watch the show during the week on YouTube, please put in the comments if you have any suggestions for the show. But I thought there are so many really hot true crime shows on right now. We've got 2 in court. We've got Supreme Court issues going on with the Delphi case. We just had that. So they are true crime stories that all of us have been following going on for years. So I thought, well, what I will do at the beginning of every show is just do a little weekly true crime update. I'm not going to, let's see if this makes it bigger. Okay, there we go. I'm not going to put in a lot of information, but because, I follow all of these. So I'll just give a little scenario of what has happened during the week. And if you all like this, I'll continue to do it. And if you have any other suggestions, please hit me up because I would love to hear if you have any other ideas because we bring in our cases. We have mysteries. We utilize forensic astrology, look at the astrology chart, go through the case, and then do what is called mapping. Mapping is where the stars and the moon and the planets, the moon, were aligned at the exact time of a crime. It can be a time that somebody's caught on a camera, a time that the 911 call was, made, a time that the person was actually found. But in astrology, in forensic astrology, we always have to have what's called a timestamp. The mapping is only as accurate as the timestamp, which I'll tell you what, timestamps now are super easy with cameras, ring cameras. Everywhere you go, there's a camera. So, I mean, there was a case from Norway. And I said, well, I'm sure there were cameras around. No, there are some places that still really don't have a lot of cameras like we do ring cameras. I take that so for granted now. So let's do the weekly true crime update. And then I had planned on showcasing Ella Jones, who went missing. She's 14 years old. She went missing in Washington, Mount Vernon, Washington State, at the beginning of January 2024, 14 years old. She has been found. But it's an excellent story. I think it's a great story to get out there because of the fact she was basically groomed, and they found her with, it's alleged he has been apprehended with a 30-year-old man, 30-ish, 30-year-old man. And the thing about Ella's story is her mother thought she had done all of the things that you do. I'm going to take away the phone. I'm going to restrict the phone. And I thought back when I was 14 and 15, we would have figured out how to get on the phones or get in touch with a guy. So, I mean, it's very frightening nowadays with the access to cell phones. We didn't have cell phones. We had to sit it with the cord and get under the table, and but now with cell phones, it's a different world. So here we go. Let's start our weekly update. And as you all know, we have been covering the Michelle Troconis trial. Jennifer Dulos is still missing. I am still hanging on to every word of this trial, and I still have all of the clairvoyants that are on the show that come into the chat. I have your clues. I'm listening to the trial. I'm keeping up with it. So any timestamps that we can get, I can do an updated map on Jennifer's case because I want Jennifer to be found. This is the case where Michelle Troconis is the girlfriend of Jennifer's ex-husband, who in 2020 committed offed himself. So therefore, he's not on trial. But Michelle, his ex-girlfriend, for conspiracy and some other charges. So they're still going through the DNA, still going through all of the evidence that they found. If you guys remember with the garbage bags, they left a lot of garbage bags in areas caught on camera. That trial is, I think we're in week 2 now, week 3. But what was interesting, on trial, I wanted to show you guys this. They pinpointed exactly where Jennifer's car was found in the park. So I watched it, and they had a map just like this one up. Right where the pink arrow is the exact location where they found Jennifer's car. Her ex-husband parked right in front of her vehicle. So there was a truck there and another big SUV. The pink arrow shows, look how close that astrology mapping came. Almost, I mean, that's pretty darn good to come that close on the map. When we looked at the chart and did the mapping, it would have gone just about to where Jennifer's car was at that road. So I wanted to show you guys that mapping because it's so, the forensic astrology is so almost to an exact science. I thought that was fascinating. So what else is going on in the trial? Michelle's trial, Troconis, they are painstakingly going through all the DNA findings, all of the evidence that they have. So it's still ongoing. So I'm going to keep up with the timestamps, keep up with everything, and I will bring more information next week as the trial goes on. Isn't that close, Keith? Yeah, that's what, look at that, Keith. The pink arrow is where they showed it on the map. And the police officer was like pointing to the map. So he was like kind of, iffy. So that, but I marked it. I was like, oh, I got to mark this for the show. It's crazy. So that's the Michelle Troconis trial, still on trial. Okay, this was a really big case 2 weeks ago. Now, as many of you might remember, Murdaugh, we all went through the Murdaugh trial. And he was found guilty of the unaliving of his wife and son. And he was found guilty, 2 life sentences in prison. But Miss Becky Hill, the lady to the right, who was the clerk of courts, has been accused of jury tampering. So this was brought to another trial. So now you have to remember too, when we do different trials in different states, every little state's court system almost seems like a different country. It's how they're all set up. They're all set up so differently. Now, the judge that oversaw whether or not Murdaugh was supposed to get a new trial was a retired South Carolina Supreme Court Justice, Jean Toll. She was so interesting. She was a phenomenal judge. She oversaw the hearing. There were witnesses. She actually came out and gave her decision in about an hour after all arguments came in. Now, is he going to get a new trial? No. She said no. What she did find, and what was very interesting, is Miss Becky, and that's how they addressed her, as Miss Becky. Miss Becky was found by the judge that she was not completely credible as a witness and was attracted by the siren call of celebrity. So what had happened is Miss Hill wrote a book. Miss Hill talked to, well, allegedly spoke to jurors. Miss Hill kind of went out of the lines of where they are as the clerk. So the judge found that. However, the judge also found that there was enough evidence that the jury would still have. There was no jury. She was not quite honest because she said she didn't do any of these things. However, the judge found that nobody's opinion would have been changed by her, So it's an interesting story. It is getting punted probably to the Court of Appeals. So I think a lot of judges are like, punt that one, get it up to the Court of Appeals, let them deal with this. It was pretty amazing at what she did do. So it's quite but it was, she wanted to be on TV. She wanted to be famous. She wanted her book to sell. And she actually allegedly said that if he's found guilty, more books will sell. So that was the Murdaugh trial. Okay, next this week, another bombshell coming out of the Delphi case. Now, what had happened is, many of you know, there were Alan was arrested. That trial is coming up for Libby and Abby, the 2 young girls from Delphi, Indiana, that were brutally taken around, Valentine's Day in 2017, around that time frame. So he has been arrested, Alan. However, and he had court-appointed attorneys. They are the ones, if you all remember, we went over the Odinism accusations, that there was some kind of flaky stuff going on with the Odinism. Now, this particular, you can go to YouTube, and we did a whole episode on the Odinism accusations. It was quite interesting. But the judge in that case booted off the two attorneys that she had originally were court appointed. Well, that caused a stir because Alan wanted the other two attorneys. The judge brought in two new attorneys. Well, it went in front of the Supreme Court of Indiana. Again, another decision made on that day. The old lawyers were reinstated. So he has his old lawyers back that claimed the Odinism accusations. And Court TV put up an interview with one of those attorneys that was the kind of like the spare. He's now not under a gag order. He can speak. This is an interview. If you all are interested in the Delphi case, everybody should watch. It is phenomenal. He said, not word for word, but he did come out and say, I didn't know what Odinism was. I thought it was hocus pocus. Now he believes it. He said it is very real. They saw it, after some of the guards were told to take the Odin patches off of their uniforms. Another guard came in with an Odin symbol under his eye tattooed. So, Odinism is a great tradition for many. Unfortunately, bad people can hijack beautiful, old, ancient traditions. And I believe that's what's happened here. But so we've got the old attorneys reinstated now with Delphi. So I know, and look at this true crime stuff happening. Okay. Now, one other case that's currently, the jury is now in deliberations. I don't know if you all followed Jennifer Crumbley's case up in Michigan, but her son was one of these school situations where they walk in with, those things, they walked in, he walked in, and 4 students are gone. 7 were injured, I believe. I think it was 7. So this is a very big case because Mrs. Crumbley was charged with involuntary manslaughter for the 4 students that lost their lives by the actions of her 15-year-old son, who opened fire in the school in Michigan. So there were quite a lot of antics in this trial with the defense attorney. I liked her. I thought she was great, but she basically said, if we're going to hold parents accountable for everything that a child does, where does the line get drawn? They claim, of course, both sides claim a lot that there were mental issues. He was 15. He should not have been given the weapon for a gift. It was a Christmas gift. And, it goes, it's a big trial. So they are in deliberation right now. Everybody is thinking in the true crime community, it's going to be a guilty verdict. I'm thinking it's going to be a hung jury because they had asked for some questions. If you're on a jury and you have questions, the jury foreman writes a note, sends it to the judge, brings the jury in after defense and plaintiff attorneys figure out the answer, and there have been 2 questions. So I just kind of think this may be a hung jury. I think they're going to come back after deliberations tomorrow. That's going to be interesting because of the fact, if this sets a precedent, then how are we going to be, like the defense attorney said, where do you draw the line where parents are not responsible? Had he been taken to one psychology appointment, would he still be would the parents still be responsible? So it's quite a trial. You can catch up on true crime, Law and Order, or not Law and Crime Network, or any YouTube channels do a lot of, after the trial, they'll do like a wrap up. So there's quite a bit of really good YouTube channels out there that you can get trial updates. So that's our update this week. And, there's a lot going on in the true crime community, a lot more than usual. So that's why I thought I'd give you guys the scoop. But this week's particular show was about little Miss Ella Jones. Hello, Miss Kathy. As we talked earlier, Kathy, maybe have Roxy come on next Monday and show some of the mugs that are going to be raffled. And we'll talk about it this week. That would be great. So, sorry about that interruption, you guys. But so Miss Ella Jones is 14 years old. She disappeared in Mount Vernon, Washington. Vernon, Washington, my bad. A little rural area in Washington. Her mother had stated that it was a normal Friday night with Ella. She came in and sat down, and her mom was watching TV. She's told Mama she loved her, and that was it. On Saturday morning, Mama wakes up. Ella is gone. Ella's gone. Now, prior to this, Mom found out that Ella had been talking to somebody a little bit older. So she did all of the things that we would have done, looked at the restrictions on the phone, took away the phone. She disciplined her. She did all of the disciplinary things. There's nothing unusual going on. So that's kind of just setting the tone for what happened up there. So as you can see, she was last seen on January 5th in Mount Vernon, Washington, near Skidate. I don't know, maybe Linda knows where that is, Valley. Now, she is at risk for a youth online predator. That's where she found this guy. They had gone back and forth online. And again, Mom set up the boundaries. Mom set the boundaries up. So, I have to give her mom so much credit. Her mother did not stop. Even when the police did not immediately come in quickly, of course, they thought it was a runaway. She was like, no, this is going on. She's been talking to an older man, blah, blah, blah. That didn't stop her. That didn't stop Ella's family. They went to all of Ella's friends, got more information. They even got the guy's name as Keith. And he was an older man. They took out flyers. They had vigils. She did not stop solid for 2 weeks looking for Ella. And it was like, they went to the police, and if the police aren't going to do anything, I'm not stopping. This is my 14-year-old daughter. So, like I said, Friday night, dinner with the family. Ella came in to spend time with her. They went to bed. Mom could not find her. She made calls. Immediately, she called 911. She gave a timestamp of about 12:15. So that's what I used. It was about 12:15. It wasn't exact. It wasn't a good timestamp. So there's beautiful Ella. Just darling. And then, the community got together and did a candlelight vigil. And Ella disappeared January the 5th. So now here is the note that her mama found. And it's basically, I'm sorry I left. I didn't want to hurt you. I love you. I will be back someday. She goes into conversations regarding her younger brother. And of course, siblings, because there's a younger brother. I love him so much, and I'm so sorry for how I treated him when he's older. And that is so, I chuckled at that because I thought that's so typical of a teenager and what their minds go through. God love her heart. So that was the note that she had left her mother. Okay. So let's take a look. And as you all know by now, I went back and looked at the chart and went, there it is. Of course, it's there, because I didn't see it at first. This is how I learn. I go back, as you all know, and I'll look at cases that are solved, other cases, just to study the chart. And that's exactly what I did here. So what was interesting about her chart, if you look at the yellow highlighter, Ella is represented by the moon, always the moon, as a victim. Okay. And she was also represented by Venus, because Taurus was rising. Taurus was the rising sign. So at first, when I looked at it, there, the IC down at the bottom where it's got a green arrow circled in pink, IC is 15 degrees. So that's important. Remember the 1-5. Okay. The degrees are the most important. That's what's so important. So the perp, which is over its opposite, as you can see, I put perp Scorpio. He's represented by Scorpio. What planets rule Scorpio? Pluto and Mars. Those are the purple arrows. So that shows us the perp. That's the perp. What else does it show us? Of course, I kept thinking, what is this? Hindsight's 2020, right? As you can see, the 9th house, that is highlighted all in yellow. I inked it all in. That represents long distance, bigger highways like I-75, I-95. If you come down to the 3rd house, which is opposing the 9th house, that represents neighborhood, short distances. So if we see a lot of planets in the 3rd house, we know she's within the neighborhood, short travel, short distances. 9th house, look at that. It's long distance, it's long travel. It's big, major highways, big highways. Well, what's right up next to the 9th house is the sun. And you all know, older man. The sun is always an older man. Right up there. Right up where he can be seen. So whenever anything's up at the MC, we always know, more than likely, it's going to be solved or something's going to break. There's going to be a break in this case. There's actually no violent type of aspects or anything really violent or malefic seemingly going on. So I thought, well, she's next to Mercury too. That's through communications. Of course, Mercury is the planet of communications. So my first thought would be, okay, older man, communicate, get her phone. Neptune is connecting to all that, which is videos. I think they're going to come up with some videos of her as well. So that was kind of like her chart for her disappearance. But again, like I said, after I found out where she was, I went back and picked up on the long distance. And that's foreign too. That could be a foreign country. It could be a foreign person. It could be, the 9th house. 9th house also could be a university. It rules higher education. It could be a church. So it could be a lot of things. But after you see where they found her, you're going to find out. And also Uranus was big in there. So it was a surprise. It was like, pack your bag. You're leaving. Let's go. I'm not sure how planned it was because it was kind of a shocking thing to do. And if you'll notice, and I noticed this again, Jupiter makes everything bigger. It expands things. So Jupiter's going up to the highway. So it's expanding the distance. Of course, if I would have known that at the beginning. So that's the interesting thing about the chart. Now I mapped it. So as you can see, Ella was found 2,000 miles away in Michigan. Okay. She was found 2,000 miles away in Michigan. Now, they had gotten a lot of this information from friends. Oops. Let's go back and look at something that was on the chart that I did notice before I found out all the other stuff. Is the house of friendships. Okay. That's the 11th house. Restrictions. Saturn restricts. It's that friends aren't telling all the information. Get to the friends. The friends are going to talk. They're not giving you all the scoops. That was in the chart. So she was found 2,000 miles away due to police work. They found him. His name was Keith. He did not register as a S offender. Noodles, of course, wants to sit and do the show with me. See, Noodles is always on all the AI pictures too, because she's like the detective cat is Noodles. She's the star. So what happened is it was like an Uber, a ride share. That's how the police found her. Because of the fact they said there's not that many ways that she could get out of Mount Vernon. If she's 14, she's not driving. So if you look to the left, the IC, which was the end of the matter, okay, 100 at the exact 105-degree mark is where in the area she was found. So, and I think it was the moon, but Noodles is down here. But as you can see to the picture to the left is the pin where she was found, but it was 2,000 miles. But at the 105-degree mark is where Ella was found, 2,000 miles away. So I think that's wonderful to go back, like I said, and to study the charts. Long highway. I'm glad I went back because now the good thing about that is next time I see something in the 9th house like that, I'll remember this case and I'll remember Ella's case. Oh, that's right. She was thousands of miles away. Could be 100, could be 200. But I'm glad that she was found. She is back with her family. He has been apprehended. Failure to register as a how they have to register when they go. He was from Florida, moved up to Michigan, and apparently put down his area where he was moving to. But I think he was picked up with charges of failure to register as an offender. And he's got some pretty good counts that he's going to be looking for and looking at. So this is one of those stories that actually has a very wonderful, happy ending. But man, it's very scary how they're out there. Very, very scary. I was thinking about getting those little tabs that you can put in gym shoes or tennis shoes of the kids and putting them in my, doing it with my daughter for their backpacks or anything. Because she did have a backpack with her, and you could get those tags at Amazon that can track them. Not a bad idea. So that's Ella's story. I'm so glad it's a good ending because we don't see those too often. And Miss Linda says, if your child is having mental issues or drugs, even though they are minors, the law does not allow parents to force their children to have treatment in or outpatient in most places. Well, and what had occurred with this school, she's talking about the school incident, is they found a drawing that was pretty graphic that they called mom and dad up to school. They advised that they could get the child help. And that hence the charges are pending to the mother because I guess they didn't feel she didn't get it quick enough or what have you. But it was within a very small time frame that he took the weapon to school. Mom took it out and claims that she had locked it up. So there's a lot of issues that going on with this case. But it's like you say, how many psychiatric treatments would it be that you wouldn't be charged? If you went to one, if you went to two, how do you know? And she is claiming she did not know. She didn't see that. Maybe the only thing she could be guilty of is maybe a bad mother. Who knows? So, this case could set a very frightening precedent, I think. But we'll just have to watch it and see what happens. Does anybody else have any other info in the chat? Miss Tammy, do you have any anything good idea that you would say, if you have any of with your search and rescue folks, what you advise families with teenagers of what they can do, and how do you keep track of children? How do you keep track of children like that are 14, and you've done the discipline, you felt like you've given them all the discipline, but yet they end up running away. And like I said, he was 30, in his 30s, from South Haven, Michigan. He was charged with maybe kidnapping, second degree. We'll have to wait and see what the charges are going to be, but I think he's going to be in for a pretty long time. So, and she found him online. He found her online, or vice versa, what have you. So it's very frightening. Very, very frightening. All righty. And Miss Kathy, I had to disconnect from my television to comment. Okay, hon, I'll get with you, and we'll have Roxy come on, show us some of the mugs, get some info on the raffle, and we'll all share it, you guys, get it out there on social media so that they can get some raffle tickets sold and get some mugs and help with a nice big reward. That would be wonderful for this family. They have really, really worked very hard to try to find Valerie. Very, very hard. So that'd be great next week. Okay, Linda's right. Air tags. That's what they are called. Air tags. You can put them on a backpack. The kids can put them in shoes. And it basically tracks the children. They're not that expensive. You could get them for your dog, too. Keith said, glad she was found. I know. It's one of those where you just... Linda sent it over to me, and I said, gosh, that's so great. So sad. So many lives lost. And Linda, I was just so relieved to know Ella was found. It's just wonderful. Just a beautiful, beautiful young little girl. And wonderful parents. And I know she's going to get... It's going to work out for them. And Tammy says, definitely put an air tag. Yes. Oh, okay. Here's another one. Good suggestion from Kathy. Track them on Life 360, the app on the phone. There you go again. Track them. If my kids were younger, they're older now, but when they were younger, if they had cell phones, I would track them too. And I wouldn't tell them I was tracking them. Linda, the world is scary to raise kids in these days. Yes, it is. You do have to track them. Oh, here's Miss Tammy's comment. Kathy keeps an eye on me with her 360. Why, sure. You go out there. You're out there with search and rescue, and sometimes wilderness areas. So that I think it's great. I think the technology is phenomenal that we have. I think it's just great. Kathy says, thank you. Or use Tile. What's Tile? Is that kind of an app or something, Lee, that you can do? And Linda says, my daughter has our teenager tracking apps on his phone. She knows where his phone is. Absolutely. Absolutely. I think that's a given. I think having those tracking apps on phones it's a given. I think it's just a given. Absolutely. Oh, in case a rattlesnake gets me. Ooh, I hate snakes. I hate snakes. Now, does anybody in the, do you have anything going on, Tammy, that you'd like to chat about? or we can do it next week. Anything going on with your search and rescues? Any updates you want to give the group? Tile tabs from Lee. Oh, Tammy, no, I hate snakes. I can't. Anything but snakes. Spiders, bugs, tarantulas, anything but snakes. And I agree. So that, oh, and I have a great case for next week that I've already picked out. It was a 12-year-old missing persons case that I think I mapped it with Michael, but I'm going to check with Michael, but I'll find out. I think I did check it, but they found the person. So I'm going to get with Michael and find out. So nothing from Tammy. Okay, Miss Tammy. Well, thank you all for everything and have a great week. Stick around. I will be on the Otter Den. We've got some really cool astrological transits. If you like astrology and want to hear what's coming up, we've got a transit that's going on. Pluto and Mercury are meeting for the first time in about 220 years. It's going on right now. And they're in Aquarius. They meet up yearly, by the way. They meet up yearly, but they have not met up in Aquarius in about 220 some odd years. What does that mean? So I think what it means is we're going to see a lot of downloads of information. There's a lot of psychic energy too in the air. So if you do work with clairvoyant energy, psychic energy, it is really off the cuff this entire week with this Pluto. So if you do any kind of clairvoyant work, readings, if you read for people, you tune into it this week. It's going to be very, very easy for you to jump on that energy and use it because it's on your side for my clairvoyants out there. Well, everybody, jump back on. Join Keith and I for the Otter's Den. And I will see you guys next week. And we will see if Roxy can come on. If Roxy can't come on, we'll find a time when we can go live with Roxy. Take a look at all the mugs that she's raffling. And they're selling raffle tickets for the mugs. So it'll be a fun opportunity, a fun night. And maybe the live show, we could all just meet up there and watch the live giveaways. That would be kind of fun. So have a great week, you guys. And be safe, be kind. Oh, you're welcome, Miss Linda. Love you guys too. Thank you for everything. Thanks for your support. And I'll see you guys maybe in about 15 minutes. If not, I'll see you next week. Thanks for tuning in. Bye-bye now.